Everybody's talking about building with AI, right? But what happens when it breaks? And I don't mean a simple bug. I'm talking about a full-on mission-critical meltdown. Look, this isn't science fiction anymore. This is the new fire drill that, honestly, most companies haven't even thought about practicing for. So let's just ask the question that's probably on your mind. No, really, think about it for a second. Your whole company depends on an AI for something crucial. Maybe it's sales forecasting, logistics, or even hiring. And then one morning, it just goes haywire. What's the plan? Who gets the first call? What is the very first thing you do? It's a pretty terrifying question if you don't have an answer ready to go. All right, to make this really hit home, let's walk through a little scenario. We're going to follow a story that shows exactly why this is such a massively important topic right now. Okay, so imagine this. Your company has this amazing, sophisticated AI that screens thousands of resumes. It's been a game changer. Then, out of nowhere, you notice a really weird pattern. Every single candidate from a top-tier university is getting rejected, instantly, no exceptions. The talent pipeline from one of your best sources completely shut off, and you have absolutely no idea why. And that's when the panic starts to creep in, right? Is this just a simple coding error somebody pushed last night? Maybe the university changed its resume format, and now our AI can't read it. Or is it something way more sinister? Could a competitor be deliberately feeding your AI poison data to sabotage your hiring? The real problem is you don't even know where to start looking for the answer. And this, right here, brings us to the most crucial point. Your standard IT security playbook, the one you've rehearsed for viruses or network outages, is practically useless here. This is a completely different kind of animal, a whole different crisis. And what's so fascinating here is the contrast. With traditional security, your team is hunting for breaches in the code or the network. The ways in are usually pretty well known. And success? It's clear. You patch the vulnerability, problem solved. But with AI, the focus completely shifts. We're not investigating code, we're investigating the data and the model itself. Its behavior is unpredictable, and even defining what fixed means is super tricky. How do you know it's really gone? How can you be sure it won't pop up again with new data? And this quote just nails it. Trying to apply old security rules to an AI problem is exactly like trying to navigate the massive, unpredictable ocean with a street map of Chicago. You're not just on the wrong road, you're in a completely different element. You need a new map, a new way of thinking. So what does that new map even look like? Well, the good news is a structured approach is starting to emerge. It's adapted from classic incident response, but it's been totally rebuilt for the unique challenges of AI. So let's dive into the new playbook that can get you back in control. This is it, the AI incident response lifecycle. It gives you a clear 6-step framework to follow. It all starts with preparation. That's all the stuff you do before anything goes wrong. Then you move through detection, containment, eradication, and recovery, all the way to the final step, post-incident activity. And that last one is key. That's where you learn from what happens so you can make sure it never, ever happens again. You know what? To really get a better feel for how this works in practice, let's zoom in on just one of these steps, containment. This is that critical moment where you have to stop the bleeding and prevent the AI from doing any more damage. So let's go back to our rogue hiring tool. Containment isn't as simple as just turning it off. It's way more strategic. You'd immediately isolate the model from any new incoming resumes. You might switch the whole system over to an older, trusted version of the model that you know works. You'd find and block any suspicious sources of data. You'd log every single decision the faulty model is making for later investigation. And you'd probably restrict its API access so no other systems get infected. It's all about building a digital quarantine zone around the problem, and fast. Now, containing the problem is one thing, but actually fixing it, that means you have to understand some really unique AI-specific challenges. These are the kinds of threats that make this whole field so incredibly complex. First up, you've got something called model forensics. This is basically detective work, but it's not about finding a bug in the code. It's about figuring out why the AI made a bad call. It's kind of like having a star witness who's been reliable for years suddenly start lying on the stand. You have to investigate their reasoning, their inputs, their entire thought process to figure out where the corruption started. And then, of course, you have the actual enemy, the adversarial attack. This is when a bad actor intentionally creates input, in our case resumes, that looks totally normal to a person, but is secretly designed to fool the AI. It's like a form of digital camouflage that exploits the model's blind spots, and it's incredibly hard to defend against if you don't have a specific plan. So, all of this new playbook, these crazy new challenges, it all boils down to one simple idea. You have to move from a state of panicked reaction to one of proactive preparation. And this is why this is so urgent. Check this out. Recent industry surveys showed that a staggering 75% of organizations admit they are not ready for an AI-specific security incident. I mean, let that sink in for a moment. 3 out of every 4 companies using this powerful technology are basically just flying blind, hoping for the best when a crisis hits. That is a massive gap between adoption and readiness. So here's the bottom line. AI is quickly becoming the most powerful, most transformative tool in your entire organization. But with all that power comes a ton of risk. And the question you really need to ask yourself is this. Have you done the work to make sure that your greatest asset doesn't become your most devastating vulnerability?